Hi there, what's up guys, Totally Dubbed here, and today I'm going to give you an information about Sky broadband connection. Sky is a provider in the UK for broadband, and I have a package which is 40 megabits per second down, 40 megabits per second up, and it's a fiber optic connection. As you can see, there is a OpenReach modem over here, and this is their router, which is disconnected at the moment. Now, you might ask yourself, well, why am I making this video? Because everyone can just plug and play a router into a modem. Of course, they would be able to. However, to go into this router and actually set it up, you need a username and password. Unfortunately, with Sky connections, you will not get that username and password very easily. The reason behind this is because Sky have decided to lock out their customers from buying or using other routers, and because of that, it means that you cannot use another router with the BT OpenReach modem. The reason they do this is actually to provide better customer support. I put that in sort of like brackets or speech marks simply because, in all honesty, providing support just for internet purposes shouldn't be hard for anyone which is remotely trained in technical support. That said, the amount of times I have called technical support in the past with other companies, I've realized has been utter shambles, even with their own branded routers. Now, the reason I changed router was actually not because of speeds, because actually the apartment that we live in is actually very small, and as you can see, my computer is just there and the router is just here. So I've got no real problem in terms of range or speeds. However, that said, I wanted control of my own router. I wanted to have, I could unlock the potential of Ethernet ports, for example, and more so I wanted to have greater range. As you can see, this router has got 3 lovely antennas. It's 2.4 and 5 gigahertz compatible, and therefore it has got great range. The range is much better than this Sky router, but that said, range is not something that really important to me. For me, it's just a fact of the principle of being in control of my own equipment in my own house and not being locked out of my equipment like a lot of Apple products, for example. So one could say Sky's gone the Apple route, both in the design of their router and their policy. So I just want to show you this first of all. I should mention, as I said, I'm on 40-10 connection. I was getting 38 and 8 on the Sky router, and that's similar to what I'm getting on the TP-Link. That said, I did get huge variations on the Sky router. I got 3.5 megabits download, whereas I was getting 38 megabits download at other times. So it was a very intermittent connection, and so far I haven't realized any dropouts or anything like that with the TP-Link. As I said, bit too early for me to comment on that, but that said, I can say that I'm quite happy having full access to my router settings with this, and going into router settings and being able to change anything and everything I want. I should mention, in terms of specification, the Sky router is actually very horrible. It only does 2.4 gigahertz, which is fine normally, but in this day and age, especially with fiber optic and higher end fiber optic connections, one would expect 5 gigahertz compatibility. This is the SR1101, if I'm not mistaken. That's the model number of the Sky, which you cannot find. You have to look online to find that. So it is pretty terrible in that respect. In terms of its transmission, it gets 150 megabits via wireless, which is quite disappointing because a lot of devices can do 300 megabits already. My computer at the moment does 450 megabits, and funnily enough, this does 450 and 300. So it's a little bit disappointing because there are a lot of cards out there which can do 300 megabits, and it's pretty much a standard now. But what really disappoints me is actually its Ethernet ports. It doesn't have gigabyte Ethernet ports, and because of its lack of gigabyte Ethernet ports, it only does 10-100 megabits via Ethernet, which is utterly disappointing because normally you can get 270 to 300 via a straight connection. And funnily enough, what does my TP-Link do? It's 1 gigabyte, so that's 1,000 megabytes via Ethernet connections. Now this router cost me £67. This is around £39-40, but for the same price that you could buy or whatever to get this, you could get a very nice router. That said, I went a little bit higher end because I wanted a 450 megabits, but it's fine. I'm actually very happy with my purchase so far. Now what I'm going to do is take you to the computer, well, my computer. Hey guys, TotallyDubbed here again, and now we are on the PC. So what I did is I did edit the video because I've got to do some editing in terms of not giving out certain informations that I don't want to be giving out, let's put it this way, like IP addresses and whatnot. But anyway, so we're on the PC and this is a better recording anyway, it's not a camera. So what I'm going to show you is certain links and certain explanations to certain things that I discovered. As I said, there are guides out there, and all I'm doing is bringing them all together and putting them in one video, and more so explaining my opinions. So first of all, here is the link to my again, all the links will be down in the description of the video, and here's here's my router. As you can see, the N750, it's a dual band gigabit router, and TLWDR 4300. So there we go, that's the router. It's quite good. Have had zero problems so far and really been enjoying using my router. Now I'm going to go into the router configuration page. So as you can see, I'm going to edit out some stuff, which is my MAC address and my IP addresses and whatnot. But so over here I want to show you several things. First of all, I want to show you that I am on DD WRT, and this is the custom firmware which is flashed on the TP-Link, and this is what allowed me to use the router with Sky, because I got to input my details, my username and password, and I'll show you how to get the username and password, well, at least show you the links and explanations towards getting that. So I just want to show you my wireless settings, as it's a dual band router. I've got 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz. What I suggest is if you have 2.4 gigahertz, you keep it on 20 megahertz for the channel width, because it's least interference. And for your wireless channel, just check around on your area to see which one has got the lowest people connected. You can do this via a computer software, or you can do it via your phone. For example, my Android S3 has a little checker for 2.4 gigahertz frequencies, and I can see what channel people are on around my area. So as I live in apartments, there's quite a few people, and channel 9 actually has no one on it, meaning I've got the least interference and the best connectivity. With a 5 gigahertz one, however, I'm on turbo 40 megahertz because there's no one on 5 gigahertz, and more so I'm on automatic wireless channel because, again, there's no one on it. No one has 5 gigahertz. That said, I'm not sitting far from my router, and my bars are only, well, it says it's missing one bar there. However, that said, I have no problems in terms of my connection. So I'm just going to show you my status. As you can see over here, I've got 400 megabits per second right there, and that's because of my card, which is also a TP-Link card, and I've got 450 megabits on the router. So there we go. Just to show you my card as well, it's pretty good to show you that. What I'm going to do is TP-Link and put in my card, TP-Link card. Here is my TP-Link card. It's the N900 wireless dual band PCI Express adapter. It's really good, very nice, very fast, and very good to use. Anyway, so back to DD WRT. So here is the wireless part. So this is what I suggest if you have a router like mine. I'm going to come back to the wireless security part in just a bit, but I'm just going to come back to that in just a little bit. So I'd like to say I've also on Overclockers UK, I've got a post mentioning all my progress basically and how I got through it and certain things that you should do. And I've got it over here. I've got some questions which I wasn't too sure, like the 20 megahertz and 40 megahertz question about the wireless, and then also about why my wireless speed was capped. I'll get back to that in a little bit, but first let's go chronologically. So first of all, on the new SkyHub SR101, I said it, I had a mistake beforehand. I said SR1101 or something, but it's SR101, and on SR101 it's a different way of getting your username and password. The normal way for older routers was a little calculator which looks like this, and the calculator basically you put your LAN MAC address, you put in the default wireless key, and it gives you a username and password. The username was correct because it just goes based on your Mac. However, the password was completely wrong. So you need to use this method posted by Newsreader on the Sky user forums in order to get your wireless key. It is pretty simple. There's all instructions and whatnot on how to do that. You have to go on this link over here and you'll find certain things to do, certain things to download. So your PDF document is really what you want, and then you're going to have to download a program called Wireshark in order to find that. It is pretty simple. The only thing that I noticed is that when I went on this guide, it actually says you should you should stop Wireshark from searching for connections, and then filter in the UDP address. But in my case that didn't work, and I tried it 3-4 times and I was going to give up, but then I was like, wait a second, why don't I just keep it running and then look at it? And I did that, and suddenly I found my username and password straight away. You'll understand what I mean when you go and do it yourself. Pretty simple if you follow the guide, so I definitely just suggest following the guide, but just bear that in mind about Wireshark. So once you've got your username and password, it's brilliant because now you can actually use that. And now you would want to go to putting it into your TP-Link router. Now, this is for TP-Link routers. Maybe other routers are a little more simple. The only reason why I had to flash DD-WRT was actually because I couldn't access the username and password part on the router, which seems kind of odd. But anyway, long story short, I just followed the steps. Now, you can ignore this section 1 because you've already done it, and this is wrong for this router. But what you want to do is follow certain things over here, but when it comes to you getting your details, you have to follow that other guide that I showed you. When it comes to flashing DD-WRT, this part is all correct. However, when it comes over here, what they do is they forget to include another step, which is mentioned in this video. And in this video, which is another video on flashing TP-Link things, is that you have to reflash it once you've entered DD-WRT. You have to upgrade it via DD-WRT. So you have to not only flash it via the TP-Link interface, but you have to also flash it via the DD-WRT interface, which is not mentioned over here. And it's something I suggest simply because it's pretty much written everywhere, even on DD-WRT website. So do bear that in mind. I also suggest also having a backup. Just back up your firmware before you do anything, just like anything else. Always good to have a backup. Anyway, apart from that, that's all great. But when it comes to this part, I also had troubles, and it's because of the firmware version and the model version of the Sky router. Over here it seems like it was an older one, and what I would suggest is actually just ignoring it and copying and pasting this into there, and obviously your username and password. I would keep those little quotation marks, that's what I did, but you want to use this one rather than the one that was listed at the beginning, which looks like this. So I would do that and you will have no problems. So do bear that in mind. This is in the same thread, but someone else posted it. It was Andrew, whereas it was Apache which posted the guide. But yeah, apart from that, you want to follow these guides, follow the rest of the guide, and get to the end, and you should be pretty much good to go. Now, once you're good to go, I I realized, as I said before, my internet was capped at 25 megabits per second, and I was really curious why. And it all came down to the wireless security part. Now, as you can see, I got WPA2 personal, I had WPA personal mixed, and I had TKIP. Now, I don't exactly know what they are, as in I know what the mixed is. It's just it's a more secure connection. Mixed is a less secure connection because it's also for older generations of phones or computers that want to connect. Maybe they won't be able to connect on normal personal, but mixed it will be able to. But the AES and the TKIP, I'm going to have to look them up just for my information anyway, but the algorithm is different, and because of that it's more, well, I guess TKIP is more secure because I was getting lower speeds. So as I said, I was getting about 38 megabits per second before, and then after I did this I got 25 megabits per second. I didn't realize why. So then when I changed it to AES, as mentioned in this guide in the wireless security part over here, he says here's where a lot of people make the wrong choice and cost themselves speed. Set your security mode to WPA2 personal and put the algorithm to AES. Using any other setting will cost you serious speed, and he is completely correct. I was basically losing about 10 megabits per second on the download speeds, but upload speeds were fine. With the download speeds were capped no matter what device I did it on, as in on my phone, on my computer, which was using 2.4 gigahertz, on my computer, which was using 5 gigahertz. No matter what it was capped at 25 megabits per second. So bear that in mind. Make sure you don't make the same, what should I say, mistake. It's a learning curve for me, all this router stuff, but make sure that you do bear that in mind when it comes to doing these things. So that's an important part in the whole setup bit, the wireless security part. Of course, it would seem natural, but you might overlook this part, and because you overlook it, then you might realize why your speed's slower. So anyway, apart from that, it's pretty much it. Finally, I'm just gonna do a little speed test via Nemesco servers. As you can see, my ping is 10 milliseconds and my download speed is about 37 megabits per second. So I'm getting good speeds, but this is the same speeds I was getting on the Sky Hub anyway. But it's just the beauty of my router is that it's more capable with coping with more connections, and it's got the 5 gigahertz capability. So as you can see, my speeds are, as I said beforehand, it's about 8 megabits per second upload and about 37 download. Of course, it varies between the time of day and what server you do it on, and how the server is loaded and whatnot. But overall, I am happy with my connection. I've had a very stable connection so far, no dropouts or no nothing, and all the devices seem to be running at full spec. So I am quite happy in that respect. So I highly recommend changing router if I were you, simply because you're first of all, you're not locked down to what Sky wants you to do, and finally, you're also able to change any settings, and you're unlocked for doing anything you want. So it's more of control more than anything. I'm like an Android user in that respect. I like having full control of my device and knowing what I want to do. I don't appreciate it when companies lock bootloaders, for example, on Android devices. I don't appreciate when Apple enforces laws against its users. I don't appreciate that at all, and I don't appreciate Sky doing the same sort of Apple-esque method. I understand their principle, but the fact of technical support is usually they actually have no idea what 5 gigahertz is, let's put it this way, or even security types. Just goes to show that the people that are working there don't actually know what they're doing. So why did Sky do this? I don't know. I guess it's for their own benefit and their own good, but I have lost a lot of respect for Sky. Not like I had much respect anyway for them, but I lost a lot of respect for Sky because of what they went ahead and did. But that said, my connection is good. I haven't had any dropouts, but that is also because I spent a good, I don't know, 3-4 hours just doing the process itself, by flashing the router, making sure everything was okay, and more so about 2-3 days reading up on the subject. And I am, not should I say tech savvy, but I enjoy reading about technology, so I don't mind. But for someone which doesn't enjoy doing this, it must be a real pain in the ass. So if Sky had just provided a username and password, that would, save loads of frustration for loads of people, including myself, who enjoy being around technology. Anyway, guys, I hope this video has helped. As I said, this is not a guide. I don't appreciate when people say this is a review or this is a guide when it really isn't. This is not a guide. It's more of an overview, a help, a putting all links on one page type thing, so you guys can just literally go there, open my video, open the links, and listen to what I'm saying, and then you'll understand where to go from there. I was pretty much lost. I was going on Overclockers UK, and I got forwarded a couple of links. I had to Google a couple of stuff. I had to look up other things. Long story short, I spent a lot of time researching rather than doing. The doing part was really easy, but the researching part was really long. So hopefully I've cut out a little bit of the researching part for you guys, even though this is a long video. I just hope that this will come in useful for you guys. Anyway guys, I hope this video has helped. Please do let me know your comments about broadband providers locking down your connection, and let me know your comments about the process and whatnot, and do let me know your speeds. As I said, I'm rated at 4010 and I'm getting 37 and 8, so I'm really happy with the speed I'm getting, and I can't complain with that. It's a fibre optic connection in brackets, shall I say, as a Twitter a follower, Mark, pointed out. It's not exactly fully fibre, so yeah. Anyway guys, take care, bye bye, totally dubbed out.